Yeah, so I says to him, I'd like to see you try it. And then I had to go to the emergency room and have it removed. Yep, right up to you. Oh, I gotta go. Hey, Randy here. I just wanted to make a short video, talk about a few things that's been going on. On the family side, I have been converting 8mm film to digital, which is quite a process. I was picturing like playing the film and then recording on a screen or something, but that's not how it works. It actually takes a picture of every frame of the 8mm reel and then stitches them all together, which I think is quite amazing. And I was always worried that these films were going to just end up in a landfill somewhere, and they contain some really cool stuff. My grandma's house that was built before electricity and indoor plumbing, there's actually a movie of her coming out of her house, and these are all silent movies, walking past the well where they got water, and there's an outhouse in the back, and it's the same house that's still standing today in Coleman, Michigan. I thought that was so cool, because I know that, and if you go into the house, all the electrical wiring is outside the walls. It's just all strung around, and that's because they added electricity after it was built. And the pantry in the kitchen was converted to a bathroom, and that's the only plumbing, and they did add a kitchen sink, so that's the only plumbing in the house. And prior to that, they had to go out to the well and draw water from the well, which is quite fascinating. And the other cool thing is the camera I used to shoot this footage, I still have. It's on my shelf of antiques. I got it from my grandfather. It is missing one lens because I had 3 lenses on it. But yeah, a lot of this footage was shot with that camera, and I think that is so cool too, that I still have the camera and the footage, and now it's converted to digital and uploaded. I think that was quite a project. It took me like 4 weeks to do them all, frame by frame, 1 picture per frame, and chunk, 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 chunk. I'm hearing that sound in my sleep now. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the big hearing on Capitol Hill this morning. A Senate committee, I'm not even sure what they called the committee, but they were interviewing whistleblowers for UFOs. Now, first I'd like to say a lot of people are making fun of the fact that they call them UAPs now, but I think that makes sense because a UFO is unidentified flying object, which implies someone or something is flying it. A UAP is unidentified aerial phenomenon, which means it's up in the air. We don't know if someone's flying it or if it's a natural or if it's an illusion. It's something in the air. It's a phenomenon. So, yeah, I do think the new name makes more sense. It's more reaching than UFO. A lot of people still use UFOs when they're talking about aliens. Technically, that's not what that means. Flying saucers, you could say, are aliens, but UFOs, not so much. Anyway, with that out of the way, I watched about half of the meeting. I didn't realize it was on, and I watched it live on YouTube. Quite fascinating. They were asked some deep questions. David Grush, who's throughout his career has seen parts of UFOs, have seen entire UFOs, have seen parts of, he calls them non-human craft. He doesn't speculate on the origins of these craft, so he just calls them non-human craft. He's seen alien bodies. Again, he doesn't know the origin of these. He thinks that, they might be from outer space, but they might be interdimensional, so you can't really say they're spacemen. And he did say he had names and numbers and stuff that he could release in a private session, and the reason for that is he's under oath. I'm under the same oath, not to reveal secrets that were that we were privy to while in the service. So he can't reveal publicly some of these, but 2 senators and congressmen in private sessions he can. So that's going to be really interesting if he does that, and if the senators in question will reveal what he spoke about. But he said, they asked him, they said, who would we contact to get the clearance to see these things? And he says, I can't tell you publicly, but privately I can tell you. So that would be interesting if they get those names, if they call those people. I'd like to see, like, even if it's a private session, just to have an alien walk out and say, yeah, I'm here to be interviewed. Whoops. And that would be crazy fun. But yeah, I really like this idea. It's the first time that in my lifetime that the government has taken this seriously and not laughed people out of the room. Along with David Grush was, I don't have his name offhand, but the pilot of one of the jets that took footage of a UFO, I believe it was the Tic Tac footage, but I'm not sure, and then another pilot who had witnessed UFOs, saying that they saw what they saw, and it wasn't a man-made craft. It doesn't follow the laws of physics as we know them. I also saw a video of a man on his deathbed who had pictures, who said that they had this piece of a UFO and he put it under a scale, and the scale would weigh things less, implying that it had anti-gravity built into the material. And the other thing he said was, he said you could put this under, a typical 200-pound man and he would weigh 45 pounds, which is fascinating. What was the other thing he said? That just this piece of material, they would hook it up to a voltmeter and it would, show that there was voltage running through it. Even though it's just a piece of material, it shouldn't have voltage running through it. So these were 2, and he also had a picture of a foot. He said, this is a picture of an alien foot. I don't know about that, but one thing that I find really, really interesting is all these people are coming forward. We have pictures and nothing else. So eyewitness testimony and pictures and videos, but nothing else. No one has been able to go before Congress and say, look, here's a piece of a UFO, or here's a piece of a alien spacecraft, or here's a jar with a hand in it, and that hand is an alien hand from crash retrieval. Just fascinating. Well, one of the things Grush was asked was, how they pay for all this, and he said he knew people that you could ask who actually allocated the money, money that was bound for certain things that got diverted to crash testing and stuff like that. And he said he would give names, and one of the senators was like, I've audited the Pentagon, and they lose billions of dollars, every audit that they can't explain, and they're missing about 15% of their assets that they can't explain. I said, so it kind of makes sense that money is being allocated somewhere and no one is knowing where it goes. But yeah, back in my day, if I was caught with the Fingers of Fate magazine reading about UFOs, be laughed out of the room. And now it's being taken at least somewhat seriously, with these pilots coming forward, and they're no longer laughed out of the room or told not to say anything. But these pilots coming forward saying, yeah, we saw this, here's a video, the video shows this, and this is what we saw with our eyes. Because, that's one thing, people are trying to debunk these videos, but they don't realize that the pilots were looking at this at the same time. And, it couldn't have been an optical illusion with the camera if the pilot's going, yeah, there it is. in one of the videos, you can hear one of the pilots say, "Look, there's a whole fleet of them," but they're only filming one, the one that turned. So I mean, what you see and then what's recorded, and this all comes together that like we don't know what these are, but at least the government is acknowledging that yes, there's something up there that we don't know what it is, and that's all they've said so far. They haven't admitted to having pieces, having ships, having bodies, or living creatures. They've only admitted that yes, there's something in the sky and we don't know what it is, and we're now trying to take it seriously and figure out what these are. So wow, they've admitted that much. It's not quite disclosure or anything, but yeah, they've admitted there's something out there. And there's been other countries, especially down in South America, that have already admitted this and said, yeah, that we know there's stuff up there. We've been saying it for years. But yeah, the stigma is taken off, so I have a feeling that, some of these cases are going to come forward. But, and it's a great big but, great big but. I'm so childish. That there's so far been no absolute proof besides pictures and eyewitness testimony. And it's just like Bigfoot, until we are holding proof in our hand, how are we going to believe 100%? And I know I've had 2 UFO encounters that I cannot explain, and I know that in my lifetime they will never be explained, because what I saw defied the laws of physics and just couldn't possibly happen. And yeah, I saw them. So I'm an eyewitness person, and if I came forward, I would have no proof whatsoever. I can tell you every aspect, and if you go back through my videos, I talk about it, of these encounters, and I could tell you where I was sitting and what I was looking at and what I was thinking, but this was in the 80s. We didn't have cell phones. We couldn't take pictures of everything. I know what I saw, and I know what happened. It was just, and I got a call. I'm going to wrap this up, and, oh, nope, someone else answered the call. No, that's lucky. But anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I find it utterly fascinating, and I hope this continues. I would like to, oh God, I would love to sit in on the private meetings where things are revealed. He said he had names of people that knew the budgets, names of people who worked with the equipment, names of the companies that work with the equipment, all kinds of things. So, and this is a guy that like has a huge reputation to protect and stuff. He's not just a pilot. He's not just a Bob Lazar, who's just coming forward and with no proof whatsoever. He was in a position to actually know this stuff, and he came forward because they're protecting whistleblowers now. They're protecting them against ridicule and protecting them against, having your hands tied behind your back and shot in the head 4 times and have it marked as a suicide, because that stuff used to happen. But anyway, it's interesting. Let's keep it up. I'm really interested to see where this is going, and if you have any observations outside of what I talked about, go ahead and put them down below, and we can discuss it. But yeah, and it was nice to see these questions being answered, and well, not all the questions were answered publicly, but just to see a senator ask a serious question like, hey, do you know anyone that's been hurt by UAP, and have them go yes, and I can give you names in private. that's really chilling. That's really, that's a step above eyewitness and pictures So that would be kind of neat to see. But I hope this goes further. I hope they continue it, and I hope maybe some of the physical, actual, touchable proof will be forthcoming. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I don't have a ton of work tonight, but I have a lot of work to keep me busy. So it's going to be a fun night. And yeah, just if you happen to be on YouTube, look up Quarterpleen, Quardlpleen. That's where I put up all my family videos if you want to see the official family. My grandparents, my parents, my siblings, before I was born. It's fascinating to watch. And there's footage of my dad with his previous family, because he was married before he married my mom. And it's weird to see that, him with another wife and another child. And, these are people I've never met. And, yeah, it's really neat to see your family history come alive. And and people never believe me, like, oh, no, this house couldn't have been built before plumbing. But yeah, to see someone come out of the house with a bucket and go to the well and pump water. Wow. So anyway, and to see the outhouse, people didn't believe me there was an outhouse at that house at one time, because it's gone in later years. But yeah, I tried to explain to my sister, I said, when the camera pans around, that building sitting there is an outhouse. And she's like, no. And I'm like, there was no indoor plumbing. That was the outhouse. So yeah, it's really interesting. But I gotta go. I'll see you guys later, and keep up the curiosity.